Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope you're all staying healthy. Hope your week is off to a strong start. This week on the Daly Dose YouTube video, well, we're actually talking about a little bit of sports news that has come out over the past week. We saw a major trade in the NFL. Want to talk about the winners and losers there. One major college football program has a brand new head coach. It's a little bit weird. And one Major League Baseball team should probably just fold and go away. But let's jump into some sports news right now. And the biggest story in sports of the past week is the big trade that took place in the NFL as the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions agreed to swap quarterbacks over the weekend. Now, this deal won't actually be official until February 17th when the new league year actually starts. But here's the deal. The Detroit Lions get Los Angeles Rams quarterback Jared Goff. They get a third-round pick in 2021. They get a first-round pick in 2022. And they get a first-round pick in 2023. Hey, make no mistake, that's quite the haul. The Rams, meanwhile, will receive Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford. Now, there are a number of sides to this story. When we see these trades, everyone, especially in the sports media, all of the fans, all of the people that maybe you're talking to at work or whatever, they're really quick to say, well, this team won and this team lost. This player won and this player lost. But here's the deal. Most of the time in these trades, I hate to, bring any common sense to this, but we're going to try. Sometimes a team actually does get fleeced in a deal. But most of the time, both teams get a little of what they want. In this deal, there are winners and there are losers, but it's kind of everyone involved. You'll see what I mean. See, the Los Angeles Rams, they gave up a lot here. They traded away so many picks. Think about this. Since they selected quarterback Jared Goff, #1 overall back in 2016, the Rams will not make a first-round draft choice selection through 2023. That's crazy. That's insane. And yet, the Rams are also a winner. Because understand this, they are contenders right now with Matt Stafford if he is healthy. Remember this, the NFL is a copycat league. A lot of teams like to look around and say, well, what are they doing? How are they making this work? We're going to do what they do. And so the Rams are looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what they did this season, and they're saying, hey, they had a lot of pieces. They had a pretty good defense. They had some pretty good wide receivers. They had a decent running game. They just needed a quarterback to bring it all together. Maybe Matt Stafford can be that guy for us. We already have a top defense in the league. We just need a quarterback. So they got what they wanted. Meanwhile, everyone is talking about how the Detroit Lions are winners in this deal for getting all of those draft picks. Man, yes, they got Jared Goff, but they got all those picks. Understandable. But here's the thing to remember. It is the Detroit Lions. I'm going to throw out some names here and you see what they have in common. Mike Williams, Roy Williams, Charles Rogers, Joey Harrington, Titus Young, Javid Best, Sean Cody, Reggie Rogers, Andre Ware, Aaron Gibson, John Ford, Taylor Decker. Do you recognize any of those names? Yeah, they were all high picks by the Detroit Lions too. And they were all terrible. So let's slow down on this thought process that, well, the Lions are just the big winners here. Well, history says that they probably botched most of these picks. Also, remember this one specific thing. Sports general managers, they always feel that having draft picks in their possession, that means job security for the GM. So they look at it and they say, hey, maybe we fail this year. Maybe we struggle this year. Maybe we don't have a great year on the field. But look at all these assets I got us. Look at all these draft picks I have us. I mean, it's just a matter of time before I get this team rolling. I just haven't gotten all my picks yet. So just give me some more time. And they use those draft picks as proof that they are being successful as a general manager. Even though we know, based on looking at Detroit's history, that might not be accurate at all. So don't buy into that. Just because you have picks means you're successful. It all depends what you do with those picks. But here's the thing. We aren't going to know who the true winners and losers are for a while. Because having those picks in your pocket doesn't necessarily make you a winner. You have to draft well, and you have to build your franchise that way if that's the direction you're going. Also, I know we look at Matt Stafford going to LA, he's a huge winner, and Jared Goff going to Detroit, he's a huge loser. Here's a question for you. Have you been to California lately? I think I'd rather go to Detroit right now. I think that actually might be an upgrade for Jared Goff. So let's wait a little bit and we'll kind of see who the winners and losers from this trade actually are. Let's switch over to college football. We are going to talk a little later on the show today about some of the hires that we have seen in the NFL, but we did also see an interesting hire take place in college football this past week. You know, I told you like probably a month ago that I was hearing that the University of Tennessee was in some trouble because of some recruiting violations, and sure enough, they ended up firing their head coach Jeremy Pruitt back on January 18th. They would also convince their athletic director Phil Fulmer to give it up as well. And then, last week, with a number of available coaches out there, the Tennessee Volunteers announced they would be hiring the University of Central Florida's Josh Heupel. And they would also be hiring UCF's athletic director Danny White to take that position as well in Knoxville. Now, a couple of thoughts on this. One, with Danny White there, get ready for Tennessee to be announcing some national championships just whenever. Win a game, national championship. Win a bowl game, national championship. Beat like the number 16 team in the country, championship. Get the rings, we're having a parade. Go to the Alamo Bowl, might be a championship, you never know. Championships are coming for Tennessee because we've seen that's what Danny White does. But I mean, it seems weird to me that you would go get these guys. Danny White, I mean, I guess he's done okay at UCF. Josh Heupel? That might be the more confusing part to me. What has Josh Heupel done to deserve the job in Knoxville besides looking like a fat Justin Timberlake? Not really all that much. Since he took the job at UCF in 2018, after the Knights had gone 13-0 under Scott Frost, Heupel has gone 12-1. It's pretty good. 10-3. That's not as good. And 6-4 this year. Do you see a trend? Yes, it's going down. That's going in the wrong direction. Now, I know that UCF has a list of head coaching candidates they're looking at. And I know that they're going to be hiring someone very soon. But I have a crazy idea. Would it be too weird for them to go to Lincoln and ask Nebraska head coach Scott Frost to come back? I mean, think about this. In his final season at UCF, Scott Frost went 13-0. Do you know how many games Scott Frost has won at Nebraska the whole time? In 3 years? 12. I'm just throwing it out there. Probably a little easier to recruit and win games in Orlando than in Lincoln. Might just kind of keep that in mind. One more thing we do need to touch on this week on The Dose. There is one Major League Baseball franchise that probably just needs to be put out of its misery, honestly. Please move them to Birmingham, Portland, Charlotte, Las Vegas, anywhere. Rialto, Olympia, Pembroke, wherever. I don't care. Does anyone whatsoever want the Colorado Rockies? Because I don't. Did you see what this pathetic excuse for a baseball franchise did this past week? The Rockies agreed to trade their top player and probably best third baseman in the business, Nolan Arenado, to the St. Louis Cardinals. In return, the Rockies get some magic beans that look just a lot like regular beans. Oh wait, that's not the end of the trade. The Rockies also agreed to give the Cardinals $50 million to help cover a portion of the 6 years and $199 million that are remaining on Arenado's contract with the Rockies. Now, many people here in the Denver metro area are furious about this. Come on, the Rockies just gave away their best player for nothing. In fact, they paid a team to take him. And a lot of the fans here in Denver are saying things like, man, the Rockies are so pathetic. They are run so cheaply. They are so sorry. I can't believe I ever cheered for that team. I cannot support the Colorado Rockies anymore. I'm not buying their gear. I'm not going to their games. I'm not watching them on TV. And I just have one question for all those people. What took you so long? I've been saying this since the 90s. This is the same club that let DJ LeMahieu, Matt Holliday, Troy Tulowitzki, they all walked for nothing too. They never do anything in free agency. Yet, the Rockies consistently draw top 5 crowds to Coors Field. Stop going. Stop watching. Stop buying. I've been saying this for decades now. Glad you all finally caught up. Sorry, it took one of the worst deals in pro sports history to get your attention, but you should have stopped supporting this mess of a franchise back in the 90s when they hung a wild card pennant in their stadium. Because I know this, that's when I stopped supporting them, and you should have too. Okay, YouTube, be sure that you go over and you check out the rest of the podcast. This week on The Dose, we are bringing you the Daly Dose Super Bowl 55 preview. We talk a little about the NFL season, talk about some of the moves that are taking place right now. Here's a question. Who's going to make a deal for quarterback Deshaun Watson? You might be surprised by my answer. And are you betting on the Super Bowl? Because if so, we've got you covered. We're looking at some point spreads, got some prop bets we're going to talk about, and we will make our picks for who will be winning Super Bowl 55. So make sure you go over and check out the rest of the podcast. I'll leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.